Hi folks, I hope you're doing well today. It's just gone 6 p.m. on the 10th of the 4th, 2020. Earlier on today, this song kept on coming into my head. It's a song called Line. It's by Hadwin and Maddie DS. Beautiful song. It is a beautiful song. It's one of those songs about a breakup and how painful breakups can be and that sort of thing. It sang beautifully. Yeah, Maddie DS has a lovely voice, and the way she sings the song is quite beautiful. But yeah, that was in my head, and I started thinking about that sort of situation. Is that we've all been through breakups. Well, anyone who's past the age of maybe 25 has probably had a breakup at some point, and many of those people have believed at the time of the breakup that life was over and that was it. How can I possibly live without that person? She or he was your life. Now your life is over. But in most cases, that just wasn't the case. In most cases, you were in a relationship with someone you weren't meant to be in a relationship with. And it's coincides with other videos I've done that talked about this very issue. That it's the same thing for a Christian or non-Christian. God has somebody for you. When you're with someone who isn't the person that God has for you, you're going to butt heads a lot. One of you is going to have to back down a lot and be the meek one in the relationship. You're going to have problems, and that's because of the fact you're not supposed to be together. You're trying to fit a square into a triangle, and it's not going to fit. You've got somebody who's going to fit perfectly with you, that God designed to fit perfectly with you. That's why we're not supposed to just get up with anybody. Partly because you're joined in marriage with somebody, but also because in today's society, the way you start a relationship nowadays is you have sex. Generally speaking, is the way relationships start nowadays. It used to be the thing that the wedding was started with, But once you were married, that was the first thing that happened. You consummate the wedding. The problem is the wedding's been consummated way beforehand. And that's why, as I said before in previous videos, you can't have sex before marriage. You are joined, as in marriage, to the people you've had sex with. Because sex was always supposed to be a sign of the joining of two people. That was the point of it, because then two people are actually joining. Which is why couples that are gay and strictly gay can't ever spiritually be married, because they can't ever properly join as in marriage. So that's the reason why I believe the church can't perform marriages for gay couples, because naturally they can't be spiritually joined because they don't join as a couple. Because what the man sees, what the homosexual man sees as the innie, isn't really supposed to be an innie. That's an area for getting rid of waste in the body. So that's not an innie. And of course, a gay female couple, they don't have an outie to go into the innie. So therefore, they can't be joined as in marriage. And so all this rubbish that, possibility the church will have to marry gay couples, no, it can't. For that reason. can't do that, because as a couple you can't be joined in marriage spiritually speaking. You'll never be joined in God's eyes. Because you can't consummate the marriage. If you go back into olden times, certainly we know that Henry VIII tried to claim that he wasn't married to Catherine. I think it was Catherine of Aragon, because he hadn't consummated the marriage. Now that was always the thing. If that hadn't happened, you weren't counted as married, and the marriage would therefore be counted as an old. Is that the word? These are very old-fashioned words that we just don't use nowadays. Well, as in, it didn't happen. And so, yeah. But as to the breakup situation, no. Breakups are tough, and the reason why they're tough is because you invest. You give a big portion of you to the other person. You give that trust, that openness, that respect. You give years of your life to an individual, and then it suddenly can explode or just fall apart. Some relationships just fall apart, some explode. Either way, that's when songs like Lying by them is Hadwin and Diaz can come across as a beautiful song. I mean, to me, the reason why that song affects me is because I know that there are people going through that. The words that she's saying in the song is that she can say that she wants to make it work, but she knows that she'd be lying because she doesn't really want to make it work. She knows the relationship is over. And of course, there are people in that situation who have been told the relationship is over, and they feel that their world is falling apart. And I'm sorry that they're going through that. I've been there. I shouldn't have been there. Well, I mean, the reason why I say I shouldn't have been there is because that relationship that broke up wasn't worth me being upset about. Not in any way, shape, or form. Certainly, when I had a child, and that relationship ended, and she was making it difficult for me to see my son. That was a difficult situation. Really difficult. I had no choice in the end but to give my son completely over to God and to say, I'm sorry, Lord, I need you to take care of him because I can't. The only way that I could have guaranteed seeing him would be to take her to court. And if I had taken her to court, then it would have meant that whenever she was upset about that, she would have taken it out on him. And that wasn't fair. Even the possibility of that happening just wouldn't be fair on him. She was doing like a lot of women do, the relationship ends. Right, I'm not going to let you see your child anymore. Okay. Tried to fight it. I even suggested that she brings the child to the church that I go to, and I just spend an hour there. So therefore, she knows I'm not going to just take him away because there's other people there. That she's leaving the child in their care, really. But no, she wouldn't do it. Whatever I suggested, she wouldn't do it. I went to court occasionally. They said she had to allow me access. Whenever I went round, she pretended she wasn't in, or she actually went out on the times that had been arranged. So in the end, there was nothing I can do. And of course, that was tough. Even at a point where that relationship was ending, because I knew that we had a child together, and James was a beautiful boy, but I should have known at the point where he was born, because when a child is born, they should be given the name of, certainly if people in a relationship, they normally get the name of the father. She gave him her surname. Yeah, I didn't agree with that. And she went and did it without me even knowing she's going to do it, because we had agreed that she would use my surname. And she didn't. So there you go. It is what it is. I mean, that was, God knows, that was 94, that was. So I last saw my son in 96. He was about 2 years old when I last saw him. Yeah, I've still got a few photos of him, but that's what I've got. And in the end, nothing I can do about it. You know, whether he comes to see me at some point, don't know. He can do if he wants. But that's going to be a difficult situation, because if he asks me why I never bothered, I've got to tell him the truth. Yeah. And that's not an easy thing to do, because obviously he's not going to want to hear anything said against his mum. But how do you tell the truth to a child about doing that? And this is what can happen in relationships where they're not the ones that God has for you. You know, when I was with my child's mother, I had only just become a Christian, and that, I think it was in 94. Yeah, it wasn't much long after, but that was it. I didn't see him again. You know, so yeah. No, he was born in 94. I think I became a Christian in 95. I think. Don't know. Might have been in 94. Of course, 94 is a long year. He was born in January, so yeah, I think I was probably, yep, July 23rd, 1994. I was baptised, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way that happened is I went to uni. I figured, you know, I should try and get something done. And she phoned me up on a number I gave her, but I was living in a shared house. And one of the women from the house answered the phone. And she was certain that I'd left her for someone else, which, no, I was in shared accommodation. But yeah, I mean, that relationship with her, definitely, that was wrong. Absolutely wrong. Shouldn't have been there, but yeah, the fact that I was there meant that James was born, and he was a lovely little boy. So I don't regret his birth. There's a lot of stuff I regret about that, but not his birth. But yeah, we all have these. This is why I'm saying I'm not lonely in the sense where, you know, in the previous video I said this. You know, if I was that way, I would be trying to meet with somebody. No, I'm not. The last couple of days, I've actually had very good days. No problem at all. Been happier than I have been for a long, long time. You know, so yeah. But even, you know, I spoke about, you know, a possible wife, but that's speaking about, you know, a possible person that God chose for me. And obviously, you know, you compare your life to the life you could have with someone that God has designed for you and you for them, then obviously your life is empty compared to that. But that doesn't mean you run into a relationship with someone who isn't that. You try and fill a gap, which is what many people do. They try and fill a gap because obviously, you know, in the worldly understanding, we're not supposed to get through it on our own. We're supposed to have, you know, a husband or wife, that sort of thing. But if you look at Paul's writing, Paul says he would prefer that we didn't marry, because then we can be married to the Lord as we should be. You know, we can have more time to serve Him, and that is true. But I think you find, certainly with the majority of men of God, that have any real degree of fantastic ministry, there was always a wonderful, strong wife behind that man. Always. And she has her place in heaven because without her, there's no way that he could have got to where he got to. And that is often the case. I mean, Smith Wigglesworth was one of those men. His wife was the original preacher in his church. I mean, out of the two of them, he wasn't preaching, she was. And then once he started, God took her. And then Smith prayed for her to come back. She came back and she told him that it's down to you now. God wants you to take this on. And then she died. But it's what he got from her before that was the most important thing. Her love and support and her own spirituality helped him on his. And without her, he wouldn't have been anywhere near the man he was. And that's always the case, There is a headship, and society says that men and women are equal. The Bible doesn't say that. There's no such thing as equality in the Bible. As I say, there is a headship. The headship is father, son, man, woman. And as much as the son is not going to try and lord it over us and abuse us because he's above us, men should not abuse women because they're above them and should love them as themselves. And so although there is that headship doesn't mean that people behave in the way that the worst can behave. If you're with a person that you're supposed to be with, then you're going to mold together. You're going to be perfect for each other. You won't need to try and battle to see who can be in control of that relationship, because you'll have your parts to play. You each have your parts to play, and that's what matters. That's where strength belongs. Even if you're stronger, even if you're in a higher position than the other person, you don't need to prove you are, because you both know that that's the case anyway. So you don't need to do anything about it. So they had, there was something online. It was, I can't remember where it was, but I saw it on these things, I think on YouTube. It was where a woman and her boyfriend, a lady and her boyfriend would wrestle, and they've been doing this for years, and he would always let her win. And he would sometimes joke that he was taking it easy with her, that he wasn't actually really trying to wrestle her. And she then said, after a while, I want you to wrestle me properly. Well, and he said, are you sure? She went, yep. So he did. And he pinned her to the floor very, very quickly. And at the 3 times they went for it, he pinned her and he beat her easily. Well, their relationship then struggled afterwards, because she thought, because she had won most of the wrestling times before, that she was actually at least on his level, when she never was. So of course that damaged her self-belief about her. It also meant that she felt threatened by him, because she had pushed him to the point where he had to prove that he was stronger than she was. That he was more capable in this than she was. I mean, the thing that annoyed her the most, I think, well, partly because she'd been going to the gym, she had actually done wrestling, and he was someone who hardly ever went to the gym, didn't really bother. But just genetically, he was stronger than she was. But as I say, if you're in a situation where you're married to the person that you're supposed to be with, you don't need to prove any of this. They don't need you to prove it. The woman isn't trying to compare with a man. She's not trying to compete with him. She's focused on bringing what she can bring to the relationship. He's focused on bringing what he can bring to the relationship. And they have a wonderful relationship. The problem in so many other relationships that aren't right is that you do have a lot of that competition. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. But I believe fully that for every human being, there is someone that God has designed for you. And the problem is that we can fall what we think in love with the wrong person. And then we can think, well, could we really fall in love more than once? But the thing of it, folks, you've never really been in love anyway. Most of us truly haven't. If we're not with the person that God has intended us to be with, then we've never really been in love, because we've not been with the person we're supposed to be in love with. Yeah, we've not been with the person that, as the romantic movies say, completes us. It's like songs say, the Spice Girls did the song where two become one. And this is the point, is that when you get with somebody and when you do the physical part with somebody, when you join, that's when two become one. So that's why people are joined in marriage to other people, is because two have then become one. But if you're two become one with the wrong person, as I say, you've got the triangle and the square trying to go into the triangle. It's not going to work. The person who's right for you is going to fit perfectly with you. And if you're in a relationship at this time with this coronavirus and you're finding things tough, it may very well mean that you're with the wrong person. That is quite likely. Because certainly if you're with the right person for you, this won't be a tough time. This will be a fantastic time because you're able to spend more time together. I mean, you see, even online, you see these people, celebrities, doing videos, and some of them you can see they're spot on with each other, utterly and totally spot on. I mean, Jimmy Fallon and his wife. I mean, 1 second, let's turn the sound off a second. Yes, they can't. Go there. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy Fallon and his wife, I see a video of them when they did a video. They're answering questions, and they are perfect together. Absolutely perfect together. They look spot on, as if they're absolutely made for each other. And this is a tough time. They've got young children. They're having to spend time together with these young children, and yet they're thriving. They're not surviving. They're thriving. They're doing really, really well. And that's the way it should be. If you're with the right person, you will do fantastically well, even in times when others are struggling. And if you're in a situation where you feel your life is over because your relationship broke up, chances are you're not. Because if you were with the right person for you, the person that God designed for you, and you've broken up, then just take some time, get right with God, pray for them, Within no time at all, you'll be back together again. Much, much better than what you were before. If it's the wrong person, well then that won't happen. You won't get back together again. You can't be better than what you were before because you're not right for each other. So, yeah. Don't lose hope, don't lose heart, and allow your broken heart to mend. Most of us in the world have gone through it. We've gone through that situation, that we know that, quite often there is a love song that really speaks to every person. There's a breakup song that really speaks to every person because we've all been through it. It's part of life, but it's especially part of life if we keep getting with the wrong people. And if you think you're better off with someone than being alone, you are massively mistaken. You are far better off being alone than with somebody who is the wrong person for you. I've been there. I've had a number of relationships with the wrong people for me. And, not good. And so far, I'm not in a position where I can be with someone who is the right person for me. Because I don't know if I've met that person. Yeah. I don't know if I'm that person for that person yet, either. Yeah. Quite likely there's a few more things that need to be dealt with, and that's cool. Things will be dealt with when they are. Yeah. I can't really speed it up. I mean, thankfully, I found on my Windows Media Player, I've got the audio Bible. I've got to put more of it on there because I've got Matthew through to, I think, the end of Acts. Yeah, so I've got all the way Matthew through the end of Acts. For the audio Bible, I'm pretty sure it covers the whole of the Bible, so the Old Testament and the whole New Testament. What I want, really, I've got to put the whole New Testament on there at least for now. Because, things like Ephesians and Philippians and Colossians, there's some stuff in there that's really great. And so it'd be useful to. The reason why I put it on there is because reading is a problem. When you're tired all day, reading can be difficult. So listening to is much easier. And the audio Bible is fantastic. It was done by the chap who played Christ in the Passion. Yeah, he's one of the voices in it, but you've got a whole massive range of celebrities that have given their voices to it. So yeah, right, I'll leave you to it for now. I think that has to do. One of my doggies, Chewie, just jumped on my bed. He's a cheeky little sod. Well, he's got his bit. There was a summer duvet that I then put on the bed and fold it in half so that he can lay on the bed with me, so he's got his bit. And whenever he jumps on my bit, I then I have to push him onto his bit because he's quite a hairy one. And when he goes on mine, it just ends up like early on I had Mollie get up and have a cuddle. And then I went to have something to eat and I've got a load of hair in my mouth. It's like, well, that's not clever, is it? And then you've got hair in your mouth, you start coughing, and people think you've got the virus. It's like, no, it's hair in my mouth. That's all it is. But yeah, the bedding can be covered in hair. Yeah, just the dogs playing indoors can mean that the bedding is covered in hair, because of course their hair flies up all over the place, and great fun. You go to bed and then you're brushing your face all night because a little hair's got on your face and it's irritable. So it's like, great. I make sure now before bed I brush off the pillow with one of those clothes brushes and brush off the bit of the duvet next to me, one near my head. Brush around that area so that I don't have such an issue. And the nights I forget, geez, you do know about it. You really do, because you get hair in your eyes, up your nose, in your mouth. you're brushing hair away from your pillow and your mouth all night. So it's like, okay. But hopefully in the future I'll be in a place that has enough rooms where the dogs can sleep in one room and play in another room, where I have a bedroom separate to that. So I don't mind the dogs in the lounge with me. That's cool, but I'd like to have a separate bedroom. So that, although of course that'd be tough on Chewie because he's getting used to sleeping on my bed. So that's tough. That'd be tough on him, but I'm sure I'll figure something out so he'll be okay in that sort of situation. But you take care, God bless, and yeah. So I say this video was just come from a song. That's the way it can often work. A song can come in your head. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a good point. I apologise. It's gone on for quite a long time, 31 minutes. I'm not sure if there's 31 minutes worth of video really, but I'm not getting any sense from God that I should delete this one and do it again. So I'll leave it be, and I'll figure out a name for it. No idea. Right, you take care. God bless. Bye bye.